عوافي يا جماعة, and welcome to another episode of اتمشى مع براين. اليوم يا حلوين we're going for a walk with my best friend, who is none other than my dog Arlo. Arlo, hey, wanna say hello? Arlo, come on. Hey, hey. So it seems like Arlo, every time we go on a walk, is very busy discovering the world around him, and so he's pretty preoccupied just with the sense of the other dogs that are all around him as we go on our walk. ومثل ما بتعرفوا, at the beginning of every episode نحن بنبلش with نكتة بايخة. وحقول نكتة بايخة اليوم. I think a lot of you might know, but it is also a favorite of mine, and it's في مرة واحد حب امتحنه بقى. هيدي I think it's a very famous joke. It's a very lame joke. Well, I think هيدي النكتة أكيد كمان بتستاهل an 8 out of 10 على البياخة scale. But also it does get like a 10 out of 10 on the funny scale. So all in all, I think we've achieved, or the joke really hits the mark, and which is why it's one of my favorite jokes. Today is very nice weather as we're going on our walk. Now, I think you'll be able to hear, regardless, Arlo as he's going on his walk. And you know what? I want to try something new today. So what I'm gonna do, because usually what I do when I'm going on my walk is I have one mic that's kind of close to my mouth or close to me speaking so you guys can hear me, and then another which is attached to the back of my shirt so you guys can hear the environment better. And so what I'm gonna do now, and I'm gonna try it for 5 minutes and we'll see how it comes out. What I'm gonna do right now, Arlo, sit down. Good boy. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna remove one of these mics and I'm gonna attach it to the back of Arlo, and let's see how this experiment goes, because مثل ما بدي لكم every time, seeing Arlo with a mic attached to the back of his leash is hilarious. مثل ما بقولكم all the time, the point of this podcast is just to experiment and to discover and hopefully to find the perfect solution. And so yeah, this way Arlo and his shenanigans are generally joining us in our walk today, so I think that'll help in his contribution to the walk. So I was saying the weather today is quite nice. The weather here in Australia is starting to go towards winter. It's getting a bit colder, so it's I'm a winter person, to be honest, and my logic behind it is quite simple. In winter it gets really cold, you add more layers, you get warmer, you get in bed. There's so many ways that you can battle the cold and be satisfied. Meanwhile, although I do love the summer and I do love the beach and the atmosphere there, but also sometimes in summer it just gets so hot and there's nothing you can do. You could be practically naked and still feel like you're sweating all over and you're hot. And so one of the things that's gonna happen today is that with my walk with Arlo is very active. He's like me as a dog. So he's always running around and he's always seeing what's around him, so it's always kind of a battle between me and him whenever we go on a walk, because he just refuses to stay calm, which I don't mind, to be honest, because I like a dog with personality. And yeah, he's just sniffing everything all over the place. And so back to the topic of our podcast episode today. Now, كنت أنا محتار على شو بدي أعمل اليوم. يعني recently there's been so many things that have been happening that I haven't been able to give the podcast and preparing topics for these episodes, enough time. And the last thing I want to do is talk about a topic when it's half cooked, when I haven't actually spent time to understand the information, collect the information well, and then relay it to you in a very nice format. For example, like the way we did with the Fairuz episode, or the way we did with the Tripoli episode, and all of those other episodes. And so I had a plan today to actually talk about Christopher Nolan because um, the Odyssey movie came, or the trailer for the Odyssey movie came out this week, and it's a very good trailer. For any of you who haven't watched it, go watch it. But Christopher Nolan is genuinely a topic that I want to spend time um, to actually gather all the information I can, and to, like, مثل ما بيقولوا لحتى اعمل شيء من قيمته للزلمه. يعني I don't want to rush into it just for the sake of publishing an episode. Arlo. And as you can see, Arlo is very vocal as well. So if things aren't going his way, he starts he basically starts yelling at me. So right now he's still pushing and driving towards towards the trees that he wants to sniff. But it's still it's very hilarious seeing him with a mic attached to his back. Now, like I said, I'm just gonna keep this going for 5 minutes because I don't know how this is gonna pan out. And it might be a lot of white noise of the mic just rubbing against his leash as he's walking, because yeah, he's not doing it softly. But I think we can experiment with this for the next 5 to 10 minutes and then see what the result is going to be. And so yeah, like I was saying I had no idea what the topic for today was, but then I always wanted this podcast to be something relevant, and not just relevant to me. Arlo, Yi, Yalla, Wesley. There's a part of the park where I'm walking right now, which Arlo loves because a lot of people take their dogs there, so he gets to sniff all the scents of the other dogs that were there before him. Hey, it's okay. You want to say hi? He's friendly. Come on. Look. Sit down. No, it's okay. Look. Yeah. Just put your hand here. See? He's very friendly. So he's saying hello. It's a boy. You guys want to say hello? No, it's okay. Come on, you can pet him.
May I touch his cheeks?
Yeah, look.
May I touch his cheeks?
Here, give me your hand. See, look. No, it's okay. He won't do anything. See?
What's his name?
His name is Arlo. See, he likes all of you. Look, he's smelling you. Come on. It's okay. Come on, give me your hand. Yeah, see? He doesn't do anything. Yeah. Cheers, guys. And as you can see, Arlo is very friendly when it comes to kids. So yeah, I was saying there's a part in the park here where he likes to go, and usually a lot of dogs go there, so he likes to sniff around and just smell the scents of all the other dogs. So right now he's full on driving to get there, and I think once we do, he's gonna calm down quite a bit. And so yeah, we were talking about what the topic of our today's episode was going to be, and I always wanted to be this podcast something to be relevant, something that's up to date, but not only that, something that kind of reflects my experience of life and how sometimes small things could happen that could affect me, and if I relay that story to you guys, then it also could affect you, because we fail to realize that we all kind of live and share a similar experience while we're going through life. And sometimes the thing that inspires me, or the thing that helps me become a better person, would help you as well. And the best thing that I could do is actually relay that story and that message to you guys. And so recently, actually last week on Sunday, my dear friend Sari participated in the Hoka Half Marathon here in Sydney, which is a 21 kilometer race It's a brutal race, ups and downs, going all the way through Sydney City and just experiencing. It's a wonderful race, very scenic, but also at the same time it's very grueling. And not only did he manage to finish it, he finished it in sub 2 hours, which is also a massive achievement. Arlo, come on, come on. And see, now we're getting to the path that he loves. Um, and so when I was there witnessing him achieve this massive milestone for the second time, I also would like to point out, um, it inspired me as well. Because I was there with his friends and his family to support him. And that same day, it inspired me to actually book my place into the City to Surf Marathon, which is 3 months away. It's a 14-kilometer race that spans from Sydney City all the way to Bondi Beach. And it's a big thing for me because ever since I'd come here to Australia, I I used to be a very active person. كنت أنا بلبنان كنت I used to play football, I used to play basketball, I used to play volleyball, I used to be in track and field. I used to be a very active person. And then when I moved here, it was during COVID, and I don't know, I think it was a collection of circumstances that happened that I dipped away from that side of me. I stopped doing any sports at all. I was consumed and preoccupied with life and work and just trying to get accustomed to this place here. And the first person, and I think now, because Arlo's going to be making quite a bit of noise, what we're going to do now is we're just basically going to remove that mic and we're going to put it back on the back of the shirt. And that way we wouldn't have as much white noise or rustling coming from Arlo's side. Plus, he is really going at it right now, so the last thing you want to hear is just ruffling leaves. And so I'd forgotten that side of myself, that side that I used to always take pride in, a side of me that كنت دلي نشيط إنسان بحب أعمل الرياضة بحب شارك بحب دلي عم بتحرك. After almost 4 years here, I started realizing that لأنه ما عندي هذا الشيء أو لأنه هيدي التريت يلي أنا عندي إياها كبراين, which is being an active person, that I haven't participated in so long, or haven't done in so long, it kind of started affecting me. Like, I need to be that person. That's who I am. I need to be someone that goes back into being active, someone that does sports, someone that goes on runs and everything like that. And the person that genuinely inspired me was Sari. So he started. He also went down his own journey where he decided that he wants to be an active person. And when I saw that he could do it, the question that popped into my head was like, if he can, why can't I? And so I started small. I started going on runs. I started doing this thing which is مثل ما بيقولوا بالعربي تضرب عصفورين بحجر. يعني كنت كل يوم أنا أجي من الشغل I have to take my dog for a walk. I usually do that every day لأنه مثل ما شايفين, if I don't do that بيصرع لي راسي. Generally أنا ماني عم بمزح. If I don't take Arlo for a walk, he'll stand outside my bedroom window and keep barking and whining until I actually do. So I can't, ما فيني أفي نهار عليه. But صرت أقول, you know what I'll do is بضرب عصفورين بحجر. I'll take him for a run with me, and that way I'd take him on his walk, and also I'd be getting back into that former kind of former activity that I used to participate in. And it was great at first doing it and everything like that, but it was hard. It's hard to get back to what you used to be. And because the last image that I had of myself doing sports was someone that was very active, going back into it and realizing that you don't have the capacity, because after 4 years of not doing any sports at all, your body has signs that it shows you. Your muscles aren't as developed. Your endurance isn't as developed as it used to be. My breathing wasn't the same. Everything was different, and it hits you دغري من اول نهار انا بلشت اركض فيها حسيت انه هيك في تقل وفي انه ايش لا man this is bad because انا ما كنت كون هيك. And that's the turning point. هون النقطة يلي بتعمل الفرق يلي هو a lot of people would see this وبيقولوا وقار I'm not gonna be the way that I used to be. I'm just going to stop. Or I'm not gonna aim high, or I'm not going to start driving the way that I used to, because ultimately I'm allowing my body to determine my mental state. I'm allowing the fact that my body hasn't been trained for a while, and that means that this is something, or what I used to do was something that I could not achieve. But I refused to acknowledge that, and I refused to accept that, and I kept going. Every day it got harder. My knees were hurting all the time. My breath was all over the place. It's tiring for you to just immediately jump back into running, and that's the main thing that I was focusing on. I was like, you know what, the idea that I want to achieve behind this is not for me to be a massive runner. What I wanted to do was basically to be someone that's active on a daily basis. You could be active in whichever way you want. Maybe you go on a run, maybe you go on a long walk, maybe you go to the gym, maybe you go do some body workout or some body weight workouts like push-ups and set-ups and whatever it is. Just that's the goal that I put for myself. The goal that I put for myself was like, I'm not trying to achieve a certain speed when I'm running. I'm not trying to achieve a certain physique. I'm not trying to achieve any of that or an ideal weight. No. The only thing, the basic thing that I wanted to achieve was to make sure that I'm someone that is active, physically active, on a day-to-day basis, whichever way it might be. And I soon found out, after actually going into that, I soon found out that the one thing, which is something that I used to love before, was running. I loved going on runs, and I loved actually getting home exhausted from my run and having achieved something physically, something like my body is telling me like you did something today. And so ultimately the way that I was staying active on a day-to-day basis was going on this run. So again صرنا ما بس عم بضرب عصفورين بحجر، صرت عم بضرب ثلاثة، لأنه I'm going for a run every day, I am taking Arlo for a walk, and I am ultimately achieving the goal that I wanted to achieve, which is staying fit on a day-to-day basis, or being physically active on a day-to-day basis. Now, there are always circumstances that happen in life. Sometimes work happens, sometimes you have so many things that you've got to do, sometimes you have family arrangements that don't allow you, which is fine. This is life. And the one thing that you should not do is allow that to be something that discourages you from achieving your goal. It's okay, no one's perfect. I never expected myself to be someone that actually hits the mark every day, someone that is actually active physically on a day-to-day basis, but the intent is there. And so what I used to do is that on the days that I would miss or could not do any physical activity, I would compensate the next day by doing twice as much physical activity. So the intent is to kind of offload whatever physical activity I was supposed to do the day before on the day after. And I started moving that way. I just, like I said, I have no time that I wanted to achieve. I had no ideal weight that I wanted to get to, no physique that I wanted to achieve. I just wanted to be active on a day-to-day basis. And what happened next was crazy, because with me just setting this simple goal and being consistent with this simple goal. Oh, all right, guys, you might witness something that's going to be crazy right now. So there's another dog that's walking by, and I'm hoping dearly that Arlo doesn't see him, because if he does, Arlo is gonna start yelling, genuinely. I'm not joking. I hope he doesn't see him. Ooh, I think we're gonna be fine. because Arlo's very is very hyperactive when it comes to other dogs, and he just jumps on them and like it's like someone that really wants to say hello to you. So and usually some dogs don't take it very nice. So I'm very cautious when it comes to seeing other dogs. But lucky we passed the other dog and now we're moving along. And so, like I was saying, what happened next was insane because just setting the goal, the simple goal, and being consistent on that simple goal started the fruits of my labor started ripening, where I started to notice that I was achieving milestones that I didn't achieve before. And one of those was today. So today I decided for the first time to do my first 10K run. Usually when I go on these runs, I go for a 5K run. And I noticed a while back that through this consistency that I've been having, I was able to achieve results on my 5K that were quite good. Like I did a 5K, I think on Tuesday, and I did it at 4 point something per kilometer, which is crazy number. And I was like, I didn't intend to do that. It was just me being consistent on a day-to-day basis and me making sure that I'm active on a day-to-day basis. And all of a sudden, without actually realizing it, my body was going back to what it used to be. And my physique was going back to what it used to be. And my endurance was going back to where it used to be. And so, having listed myself into the City to Surf Marathon, I knew in 3 months, which is in 3 months' time, I knew that I needed to start practicing. I needed to start getting into shape. I needed to start consistently monitoring how I'm running and how I can manage or find a way to be able to hit that race. And so today, I decided that I wanted to do my first 10K. I generally said, like, you know what? I don't care if I do this fast. I don't care if I stop throughout. The only thing that I care is that if, at the end, I would have run 10 kilometers. That's all I wanted to do. And so it was hard because running a 5K or running for 5 kilometers requires a certain pace, but then running at a 10 kilometer requires a different pace because you need double the amount of endurance. So I'm running for almost double the amount of time. So I can't be running at the same rate because if I did, I'd flatline almost halfway through the race or halfway through the run. And so I did. I put it in my mind and I was like, I'm just gonna keep running and make sure that I achieve that 10 kilometers that I wanted to achieve today. And that's what I used as a driving factor. I just kept going. I'll admit it wasn't perfect. Hey, how are you? Up, up, up. I know. He's been very naughty, bro. You guys have a good evening. And these are a beautiful old couple that whenever I'm taking Arlo for a walk, they're usually on that same walk, so I always say hello to them. And so I did start my 10K today, and I maybe 6 times throughout the whole thing, I would slow down and walk for like 30 seconds because my lungs were burning, my body was tired, and I needed some form of rest. But I didn't want to stop. I wanted to make sure that whatever it is, I didn't stop and sit down at any point during this 10 kilometers. And I got home. I was exhausted. I sat down on the grass. Arlo wasn't with me. That's why I'm taking him on his walk today, because I wasn't sure that he would be able to keep up on a full 10 kilometer run. And so as soon as I got on the grass, he came and licked my face and started complaining, basically in dog language, about how I went without taking him with me, which is why I'm on this walk right now with him. But I did it. I did the 10K and I did it at 5.26 per kilometer pace. That's insane pace. I didn't even intend to do it that way. I didn't intend to achieve that number. I didn't intend to hit that mark. I just wanted to run the 10K. I just wanted to make sure that I would be able to finish a 10-kilometer run. And what I started realizing was that whatever you want to achieve, whatever goal that you think is impossible, it's only impossible because you think it's impossible. Because when you put your mind to it and when you're consistent, and I think you guys can smell how crazy Arlo is going. He's sniffing everything everywhere. Hey, hey, hey. طيب ليك تعال شوي تعال. Can we relax for a bit? Can we relax? Hey, hey, hey. Can we relax? Yeah, yeah, it's alright, it's alright. يا عمي it's alright, it's alright. يلا ها تفضل. تفضل من هون من هون مستر من هون من هون. I don't. I'm always negotiating with my dog. I'm always negotiating with him to kind of reach a peace treaty where like we're not at each other's necks, but he's constantly just pushing. And so, what I thought was impossible was not actually impossible. It was only impossible because I thought it was. And all I needed to do to actually make it possible was to be consistent, to make sure that every time I get up and I do the work. I go for the run. No matter how tired, no matter how much I don't want to do it, no matter if the weather is bad. Look, there's this thing that my friend, or actually, sorry, my grandfather once said to me, which is, if you want to do something, you can find a million reasons to do it. And if you don't want to do it, you can also find a million reasons not to do it. And so, you just need consistency. And that's all it took. All it took for me to be able to achieve these milestones that I thought were something that I couldn't achieve anymore, something that was خلص ما يعني انا ما عاد كنت اقول لحالي انه خلص انا ما عاد في اركض مثل ما كنت اركض قبل. كنت اقول لحالي انه انا ما بقى في اعمل الاشياء اللي كنت اعملها قبل. But that's not true. I can. And all I needed was for me to be consistent, for me to put in the work, for me to not be discouraged by not achieving what I want to right away, because that's also a problem. في كتير عالم بيجوا بيقولوا انه انا بدي يا خيي انا بدي اضعف مثلا، بيقولوا لك انا بدي اضعف بدي اخسر 10 كيلو. بيعملوا جيم جمعة وبيلاقوا انه اسا ما نزلوا يا دوب نص كيلو وخلص بيقولوا كسخت هالشغله خلص ما بدي اعملها. ما عم بينفع دلات جمعه مثل ما هي قاعد عم بشتغل كل النهار ولكني اسا ما ضعفت. ما حيصير هذا الشيء دغري. ما حيصير من اول نهار، مش انه انت بس تدعس بالجيم اوتوماتيكلي بينزل 2 كيلو يعني. بس you need to be consistent. You need to constantly go, no, I'm gonna keep doing this. No, I'm gonna keep doing this. No, I'm gonna keep doing this. I know I feel tired today. I'm still gonna choose to keep doing this. I know that my legs hurt today. I'm still gonna choose to do this. And all of a sudden, all these things that I thought were impossible were possible. And I think that's something that I need to tell you guys about, because what I learned from this is that anything is possible when you put your mind to it. And you can read a lot of books that tell you that, and you can hear a lot of people that will kind of give you their point of view on this topic and how they think that, yeah, if determination is the way. But until you genuinely do it, until you actually commit and decide that I want to do this thing and I want to keep doing it until I achieve those results, you won't see it. You won't see it. Look, a lot of people have read David Goggins' books and all of these inspirational people's books, and they read the book, but the next day they stay the same because they don't implement it. They just think the idea behind it is for me to read it and that's all. No, you need read, understand what he's saying to you, and then apply it. Because once you do, you'll realize that you also have that same power that he has, that everyone is able to achieve that thing. And the only thing you need to be is consistent. And this doesn't just apply to to sports, it doesn't apply to running, it applies to everything. You just need to have determination, and no matter what the circumstance, to keep moving forward. The only thing that you always need to do is to keep moving forward, to keep showing up for yourself, whether it's via training or running, or you want to write a book. Then you need to, if I want to write a book, I'd say like, okay, what I want to do is that every day I need to make sure that I'm writing 5 pages. And you need to constantly stay there and be like, today I'm writing 5 pages. Today I'm writing 5 pages. And every day just write 5 pages. And all of a sudden you're going to start realizing that from writing 5 pages, you've already written 6 chapters of your book. You're almost finished with your book. You look at your book and you go like, you know what? Maybe if I spend time doing 10 pages a day, because 5 pages is nothing anymore, if I spend time doing 10 pages a day, then instead of writing 1 book, I can write 3. Like, the only way that you can realize your potential is by being constantly determined to achieve it, to constantly be there for yourself. And that also applies with me in this podcast. So life happens, and for the past couple of weeks there's been a lot of things that have been going on in my life that haven't allowed me to sit down, like I was saying, and generally prepare for an episode. But I never used that, and I never saw that as a reason not to record. Even if it's something like today where I'm just going on a walk with my dog and just like talking about what has happened to me, I'm still there showing up and still there determined to constantly be present, to constantly do this task every day, every week. I need to publish 1 episode. I don't care if I'm talking about nothing. I don't care if I'm talking about ice cream or chips or whatever it is, or even like the episodes before where I'm just talking about random events that happen. The idea is to be there every day and every instance. Put a goal and say to yourself, I need to do this. So, and you start realizing you have the potential, you have the capability to eliminate everything that you thought was impossible, because at the end it's all possible. You start realizing that I can do this, that I can be that person, that I can achieve this result. And all you need to do is to show up every time. Show up every time. And I feel a lot of people don't realize that they have that potential in them. But what I'm doing right now, and what I'm saying to you right now, is kind of the same thing any other inspirational person did when they wrote their book. They're all telling you the same thing. They're all telling you that you have the capacity, that you have the capability, that you can achieve this. But the only way you'll find out is by actually trying. The only way you'll find out is by actually doing what you need to do. And all of a sudden you start realizing that you have way more potential than you thought you did. Because your biggest enemy, or my biggest enemy, or our biggest enemy, is ourselves. It's our own self-doubt. It's our own brain saying to us like, no, you can't achieve this. And what you need to do is you need to overpower that. You need to overcome that. And the best way to do that is by consistency. Because all of a sudden, that brain of mine that told me 4 or 5 months ago that you can't achieve, and like your body is nowhere close to going back to that state. All of a sudden today, I proved those ideas, and I proved that thought wrong, because I kept consistent and I kept going after what I wanted to do, no matter the results. Don't look at the scoreboard. When you're doing something like this, don't look at the scoreboard. When I started running, to be honest with you, I didn't even I didn't wear a watch. I didn't wear like a tracker. I didn't do any of that. I was like, and I remember telling my friend that I don't want to track, because for me, it's not about if I'm achieving the speed that I want to. It's about just running every day. It's about being active every day. And recently I started wearing it just to kind of use it as a metric to see if I'm getting better or not. And I realized that I'd achieved the results that I thought were impossible. And so, what I'm trying to say in this episode today is that all of you guys, everyone that's listening, everyone out there, you all also have that same potential. You all have the capacity and the ability to achieve the things that you deem impossible or that your brain deems impossible. And the only thing you need to do is just put in the work. You need to put in the work. You need to constantly say no, even if this is happening, I won't do it. And another example for that is this podcast. There's been episodes that I've published out that had maybe 4 listeners, and there's been episodes that have had 100 listeners. But I never used that as a metric. I never went, oh shit, that's it. If I've just got 4 listeners, that means this podcast is going nowhere and it's gonna drop to the ground and I need to just quit this thing and stop. No, it's a scoreboard that I need to not look at, because the only way I'll be able to achieve what I want to or make this grow into something that's with potential is by just constantly showing up and constantly doing what I need to do every time that I plan to. And so that's why every week, regardless, no matter how busy the week was, no matter how unprepared I've been, no matter how much I wanted to talk about a certain subject but didn't have the time to prepare for it, I still record an episode, even if it's just like today, going for a walk with my dog and talking about something that happened to me on this day. And so the reason why I'm kind of talking about this today is to show you guys that you also all have that same potential. You all have the potential to change the impossible and to make it possible. And the best way you can do that is by just showing up for yourselves, is by just going, no, I'm gonna keep doing what I need to do regardless. When I started, also one of the things, when I started running, you know how many times I stopped the first 5 kilometers? I stopped maybe like 10 times and I felt like I was dying, like my lungs were burning and my body was aching. But I didn't stop and turn back. I stopped, took a break, and then kept going. Stopped, took a break, and then kept going. And now I do that 5K race without even stopping once. That only happened because I kept going and I kept choosing to move forward. I kept choosing to hit the targets that I wanted to hit, to do the things that I set out to do. And I think all of you guys have that same potential as well. And the best support you can have is yourself. If you do not believe in yourself, and if you're not there cheering for yourself through the hard times, through everything, then you're not going to be able to achieve the things that you want to. So always show up for yourselves. Always. كل يوم قوموا يا خي يقولوا أنا اليوم في target حاطته براسي بدي أعمله. And like I said, it could be anything. يا خي, I want to learn how to cook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that every day I cook my lunch. I want to learn how to cook. I'm going to make sure that every day I cook my lunch. Some days you're going to come home, you're going to be very tired, and you're not going to have the things that you want to prepare, let's say, I don't know, steak or like a chicken schnitzel or whatever it is. But you do have the components to make tuna pasta. Cook the tuna pasta. The intent is for you to cook every day. And all of a sudden, the things that you're taking for granted, you're learning, like, oh, you know what, now I know how to properly salt my food, where I'm not adding too much, where I'm not adding too little. I know how to season my food. These are things that any meal you're gonna cook is going to teach you. And so you're getting better at cooking just by the fact of cooking every day. It doesn't have to be an extravagant meal. It doesn't have to be something that's worthy of a restaurant. You just need to cook every day. And then all of a sudden you're gonna get to the point where you're very good at cooking and you know how to cook. You know how to spice your food. You know how to chop. You need to constantly, whatever the task that you want to achieve, the only way you can achieve it, no matter how impossible it sounds to you, the only way you can achieve it is by constantly showing up and by constantly putting in the effort and by constantly going, like, regardless of what the result is and no matter how many times I fall, because there's so many times where you're gonna go, oh, I'm gonna try and run this today, and you might not do it in the time that you want to, or you might not do it at the speed that you want to, and you might falter. But the important thing is for you to always just pick yourself, get back up, and do it again. Pick yourself, get back up, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, and then all of a sudden, you did it. You achieved what you wanted to achieve without focusing on what the achievement is, but just on making sure that you're showing up every day. And so, مع هيك يا جماعة, we come to kind of the end of today's episode. وبعرف, I know there's this thing that's been happening with the podcast where recently I've been kind of deviating a lot more towards English than I am to Arabic. But I think when I do use Arabic more often in the podcast, it's usually because the subject is related in some way to Arabic culture. Like for example, when I talk about Fairuz and her singing, or when I talk about Tripoli وعن بلادنا وعن لبنان. بس أنا عم بتعلم من هيدي البودكاست معكم. And I don't know where this is going to go. But like the same thing that happened with me running, or me getting back into my physical shape, or getting back to being active, that's the same thing that's happening with this podcast. I don't know where this is going to head. I don't know how this is going to grow. But I know that the only way I can find out is that by making sure that whatever target I place for myself, I hit every time. And so اليوم أنا جربت شغلي مع أرلو. حطيت المايك عليه. ويمكن هلا بس كون عم برجع when I go back home, and when I'm trying to overlay the sounds and like fix the audio before I upload the episode, I might realize that this was a great idea. But the only way I would have found out is by making sure that I record the episode today, by making sure that whatever I set my mind to, I make sure to do it every single time. Every single time. And you, كلكم انتو, كل اللي عم بيتسمع هذا الشيء, you all have that same potential, and you're all able to achieve this. The only thing that you need to do is to put your mind to it, وتقولوا خلص هيدي الشغلة اللي بدي أعملها أنا, وأنا فيني أعملها. And all it takes is hard work. Nothing comes easy, man. There's none of these big athletes, none of these big people that have achieved massive things, they never got there overnight. They worked hard to get there. It's all about the work. You just need to put in the work, and all of a sudden you start realizing that you're getting better at the thing that you thought you could never do. And you're achieving things that you never thought you can do either. And so with that, today يا جماعة بنهي الحلقة, وبرجع بحب أقول شغلة يلي هي thank you again to everyone that listens in, to everyone that supports this, because with your help I'm able to achieve this. And what I want to do is to show you the gratitude and the love that I share for all of you guys, for your support. But also, I would love nothing more than to see every single one of you trailblaze in their own way through life. And so, again يا جماعة, شكرا كتير لألكم, ولأنكم you sit and listen in every time. وبحبكم كتير. I know that through hard work, we're all gonna achieve great things together. And قبل ما أسكر اليوم وانهي أنا كمان, بس خلي أرلو يا عمي خلص stop. You wanna say goodbye to everyone? Hello? You wanna say goodbye? No? No? Yeah, I don't think Arlo wants to. I don't think he's pretty much in the mood to say goodbye right now, because he's just enjoying an environment. بس مع هيك يا جماعة أنا بقولكم وهيك وشكرا, I'll see you in the next one.